Hey everybody, Chris Ray Maldonado here. It's been a while since a Q&A has gone up, so let me just refresh you. I'm kind of not doing it as a weekly Q&A anymore. I'm trying to do it bi-weekly so that there's more happening in between Q&As, therefore there are more questions to be asked, and it's just, we get better questions, and it's more time for me to not focus on a Q&A and do other stuff. So a bi-weekly Q&A, this is the first Q&A in a while, so if you have a question for the next Q&A, leave it in the comment section below. Send it to me on Twitter or Facebook, all of which are addresses that you can find in the description box below or on the main channel itself. So let's get started. What do you hope for the songs on the Black Market? It's talking about the new Rise Against album. Is there any special theme you hope they are about? So basically, is there any specific theme or topic that I'm looking to see addressed in the new Rise Against album? Not particularly. I'd like to see them talk about money and politics, because I know they are a very political band, and I'd really like to see them jump on that cause. But they talked about the record, and they said it was a lot more introspective, and the single really shows that. I Don't Want to Be Here Anymore is very, very, very introspective, and I'm looking forward to that, because some of my favorite Rise Against songs aren't necessarily the political ones, but the introspective ones, and Tim is a fantastic songwriter, so I have no doubt that the lyrics on most of these songs are going to be friggin' fantastic. What did you think of this year's E3? I thought it was probably the best E3 that we've had in a long time. I think 2006 was the last time I remember being really excited for everything. And I was excited for everything that Microsoft showed. I was excited for most of the stuff that Sony showed, and even Nintendo kind of excited me a little bit. Now remember, I'm talking about Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, because nobody who gives a shit about EA and Ubisoft, nobody. But you know, Microsoft had some killer stuff to show, like the Halo collection. I was not expecting. I was not expecting Halo 2 Anniversary in a Master Chief collection, all 4 games, 1080p, 60 frames per second, Halo 1 and 2 remastered with the multiplayer for all of them being brought back on dedicated servers with an invitation to the Halo 5 beta. I was not expecting that. In fact, I made predictions that said that that was way too good to be true, but there it was. And honestly, like, that blew me away. Scalebound looks freaking great. Sunset Overdrive looks freaking great. The Order 1886 looks freaking great. The Last of Us Remastered looks freaking great. I'm excited for Uncharted 4. Smash Brothers looks great. The new Zelda looks great. The Star Fox is coming back. Like, this year was massive, and not a single word of motion controls. And that's a win for everybody. So I honestly say this year was probably the best E3 that we've had in a long time. And people who say otherwise are very, very jaded, and I can guarantee you they can't point to an E3 that's even better than this. They may not have been excited by this year's E3, but dude, to deny that this year's E3 wasn't the best, please. You're living on another planet. And I've been watching since 2005. So I have a frame of reference. Are you on PS4 or Xbox One? Because I'm on PS. I'm on PlayStation, and it'd be awesome to play games with you. Right now, I'm deciding. Now, here's the thing. This kind of plays on the E3 question. So, the decision here is PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. And for a lot of people, that decision was easy, because a lot of people kind of jumped on the I hate Xbox bandwagon. And that bandwagon's been around for a long time. But here's the problem, right? So, PlayStation 4, it gets Destiny, right? It gets timed exclusive stuff for Destiny, and a lot of my friends are on it. But I don't really like any other games that I'm seeing for it. Like Uncharted, like I said, I was excited for Uncharted 4, and Uncharted 4 does look really great. But I know my experience with Uncharted. I'm going to play it once, and I'm never going to play it again. That's just how I play Uncharted. Like, I've never felt the need to go back and play Uncharted 2, even though that's my favorite one. I've had no desire to play it again after I beat it. And you know, the Order 1886 looks very linear, and I don't know, like, a lot of the games that they showed were multi-platform, like No Man's Sky and Mortal Kombat X. And the way I see it, Xbox One has the games that I kind of want to play more, like Sunset Overdrive, Halo the Master Chief Collection, whatever the next Halo is going to be. Gears of War is coming back. Scalebound from Platinum Games is coming out, and you know, I don't know. It's a difficult decision, but I think I'm probably gonna have the smartest decision. I feel like is going for the system that has the games that you want to play, right? And for me, Xbox One is likely going to be the console that I'm going to choose. So at least at first. Maybe, hopefully, at some point in the future, I'll be able to afford a PlayStation 4 and I'll be able to play with everybody. That's the plan, right? But the first console should be the one that I'm going to get the most enjoyment out of. And I can get Destiny on both, and that's my most anticipated game, so I'm probably just going to go with Xbox One. I have more to look forward to this year for that system, so, you know, it's a complicated decision, but I'm probably going to go with Xbox One at some point, and then PS4 soon after. So don't worry about it. How much more excited are you for Destiny now that you've tried the alpha? I'm super excited. I thought the alpha was fan-freaking-tastic. And it's weird because, like, the alpha didn't really have that much content in it, but I had an infinite amount of fun with it. And I said I don't have a PS4. I don't. I played it at my friend's house every single day. It was amazing. It was probably one of the finest experiences I've ever had playing an FPS. It's so smooth, and it's really not easy to play. The learning curve is kinda, it's not StarCraft steep, right? But there's a lot of nuances to the controls, like sliding and double jumping and barrel rolling and vehicle control that, like, really a skilled player is going to win. And it's really just, it feels unique when you play it. It doesn't, and when you're looking at the alpha footage, it doesn't look unique at all. It looks like a Borderlands in space, or it looks like Borderlands and Halo kind of mixed together. And I agree, it does look like that, but when you finally get your hands on it, it's really something that's, you can't really describe it in a way that I don't know, it's really tough to explain. I think anybody who's played the alpha can testify to this. It's a really difficult experience to kind of condense and explain to somebody. But I'm way more excited for it. I'm so pumped. Biggest disappointment of E3? I'd have to say Sony's overall press conference. Like, because Nintendo was, like, hilarious. Like, Nintendo had a lot of cool stuff, but they were also funny. Like, the Robot Chicken thing was probably the highlight of the entire show for me, because I could not stop laughing. So, and then Microsoft games, whether or not you like the games or not, that's kind of beside the point, because E3 is a press conference for games, and they showed up with games and nothing but, and that was the right thing to do, and some of those games were really, really cool looking. But Sony kind of, like, they started off kind of strong, and then they kind of, like, went into average territory, and then they started talking about YouTube and television and numbers and sales and how many games were being played on PlayStations and then they showed Mortal Kombat X, and that brought everybody back, and then they went to talking back about apps, and then they talked about, and then they showed Uncharted and Batman. So, you know, Sony's conference was just kind of depressing, because last year their conference was really, really good, and they really won last year. So the conference this year was, like, terrible in comparison. It was just like, why are you talking about numbers? Why didn't you do what Microsoft did and show games the entire time? I know you've got it, you're PlayStation, right? You're always bragging about how many games you have. Fill the entire show with games that you have. It wouldn't have been difficult. But they chose to talk about YouTube and PlayStation TV and a friggin' television show and a Ratchet and Clank movie, which, is anybody really excited for that? So I don't know. You know, Sony's conference was kind of the biggest disappointment for me. Not to say that they didn't show anything great. It's just like the conference overall compared to Nintendo's and Microsoft's was just kind of. When's the next Rise Against cover? Okay, so that question was asked before I put up the cover of I Don't Want to Be Here Anymore off of their new record. So I'm not going to be a dick and say that was it. I'm going to say, as you remember, the next cover I'm planning is Death Blossoms. So that's going to be the next cover. I don't know exactly how far away that is. I've been averaging out at least like one cover a month, and I'm really sorry about that. It's just kind of, you know, covers are tricky because, like, you can try it a million times and they can suck a million times, and then maybe you get one golden shot that maybe your camera wasn't recording for. So next cover, I don't know, expect it. It's June 19th, probably early July. Death Blossoms, hopefully, if I can get that running. It's a hard song to cover, but I'm doing my best. So, yeah, early mid-July. Do you have Premiere back? Yes, I do have. I have my editing software back, which is why videos have been coming out a lot quicker and a lot more edited. You've been seeing a lot more content from me, and you will be seeing a lot more content from me. I'm working on a video combating Anita Sarkeesian's points right now, because I asked on my Facebook page who wanted to see that, and a couple people did want it, so I'm working on that right now. But yes, I do have Premiere back, which means more videos will be coming out and all that stuff. When will the next podcast be? Podcasts are tricky. Okay, so this is a Q&A, so this is a long-form video, so I assume that whoever's watching right now is genuinely interested in how I work the channel and all the questions that are being asked. So I'm going to answer this as honestly as possible. The podcast is a very difficult thing to do, because yeah, it relies on people's open schedules. It relies on whether or not there's really anything to talk about. There's a lot of factors that come in, but also it matters who's watching it. Like, I've analyzed what people watch on my channel, and usually they watch machinimas that are topical, not random machinimas like the Pokemon one that I just did, which is actually 2 audio snippets from the podcast that we did, and I did that to try and maybe get more people to watch the podcast, because it was like, it's podcast highlights. But you know, that one's not doing too well, although I love that video personally. You know, most people watch the covers, original songs, the rants that I do, but it all depends on, like, the stuff that's not original songs or covers. They have to be time relevant, like they have to be very, very new. Like, the topic of the video has to have been within the last 3 days of it being out. So it's kind of difficult for me to figure out what I want to do, and podcasts are kind of difficult to organize, and you know, not that many people watch it, and you know, I can't tell you when the next podcast is going to be because I don't know people's schedules, but perhaps when I get a couple more subscribers, when the viewer base is a little bit bigger, I'll put the time into it. But right now I'm going to try and focus on covers and other video content besides podcasts. Will you be doing more gameplay sessions? That's another thing. The gameplay sessions didn't do too well. They have below 100 views, maybe 100 median, average. So, you know, the gameplay sessions, I love doing them and I have fun doing them, but it's one of those things, like, I don't want to have something out that you guys don't want to watch. I don't want to crowd your guys' feed with stuff that you don't like, and that's really difficult for me because I do music and I do video game stuff, and some people are interested in one and not the other, and it's really difficult for me to gauge what you guys want to see and what you don't. So the gameplay sessions I'm going to keep on hold for a little while until I come up with something a little bit more unique to do with them, because as it stands right now, they're just Let's Plays, and I try to embellish them with a lot of editing and, you know, some really quick jokes and stuff like that. But you know, when I figure out a unique formula, I'll bring it back. But for now, I'm going to kind of stay away from them. But you know, if you guys, again, if you have any suggestions, anything you want to see, feel free to leave that. I listen to absolutely everybody who comments, everybody who sends me a message on Facebook, everybody who sends me a message on Twitter, everybody who tweets at me on Twitter. I listen to all of it. So if you want to see something, like the Anita Sarkeesian video is happening because I asked you guys if you wanted to see it, and some of you said yes. So that's now happening. I listen to you guys. I want to know what you guys want to see. That's essentially my job right now, is to make sure that I'm putting stuff out that you guys like. So you guys are my boss. If you want to see something, let me know, and I'll do my best to do it. And yeah, so I guess that's it for this week's Q&A. It's getting a little on the long side. So thank you guys again. If you have any questions, comments, or anything else, leave them in the comment section below. Send them to me on Facebook or Twitter, all of which are addresses that you can find in the description in the description box below, or the main channel itself. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks for the next Q&A. Bye bye.